I'm here with Conan O'Brien. Can we just start off by saying, I think your hair is just luxurious.
I know you do. I've read the letters, and you've got to stop.
So you grew up in a big family. How was that like?
Well, I'll tell you. We loved each other. That's the important thing. And we'd gather around the flames every night.
So, coming from such smart parents, what did they think about your comedic career?
It made me softened when I started paying my own rent. The minute I found that you start paying your own rent, your parents are okay with almost any profession. You know, if I was a serial killer but I made money at it, my parents would say.
So you weren't always Team Coco. You started off as a writer, and how was that?
Yes, but I wrote a lot of comedy, and I was very interested in performing comedy. So my parents knew that I had a little bit of an inclination that way, and that I'd had some success. So when I told them I was going to try, I think they thought, all right, well, let's see how this goes. And pretty quickly, I got a job out in Los Angeles.
So how was your experience for writing for SNL?
Saturday Night Live in my 20s, my early and mid-20s, I was thinking about how should this be performed? What's the best way to shoot it?
What were the high points of being on the show?
It's the big time. I mean, I had been working on these other shows out in Los Angeles, but I had never been around real stars. I'd never been around big, big names.
How did you get your writing job for The Simpsons?
The Simpsons had only been on the air for about 3 seasons at that point. And they said, do you have anything you could show us? Do you have any sketches or anything you could show us? Because we hear, I had a good reputation, and we hear you might be the guy. So I sent some sketches over, and they called me back the next day and said, this looks good. Can you be out here in 3 days?
Who's your favorite character from the show?
Mr. Burns is my favorite character to write for because there are no limits.
How are you just so funny?
I think a lot of it's in my hair, that puff pastry I wear in my head.
Did you just fart?
Ruined everything.
So do you ever wonder what age group might be watching you, or how you should act for that certain age group?
I think when people try and get too cerebral about, that there's a magical line between 11:30 and 12:30 that you can't pass. I don't believe that's true.
How did you feel when NBC moved you back to Los Angeles?
It's a whole new sandbox to play in. I mean, it's a different culture, and when people just hear that Conan O'Brien's moving to Los Angeles, they laugh. I mean, it's just, I don't belong there, clearly. I think people are going to tune in just to see how much skin damage I have.
Okay, so after all these questions, I'm just still focusing on your hair. How do you get it to be like that? Because, I just really want to know.
And just naturally. I have bathroom tile caulk in here. I have sawdust. There's one of those wire cages that they cook fish in. I've got that supporting the top structure.
What was the transition like from having the late night show and then changing to TBS for your own Conan show?
I mean, you think about it, the late night show changed a lot over the 16 years that we did it. I changed as a performer. Andy started out with us. He left. He's coming back now, but there's been a whole evolution in how we do the show.
So what does it mean to you to have Andy back on the show?
To me, it means we have a deep bench. It means we have a great utility player. I mean, Andy is one of the funniest guys I know, and he and I have this chemistry that you don't find a lot in television. It's real. It's not that fake. Yeah. You're the best chemistry.
How was life in Harvard in those college days?
Even when I was in college, I used to tell people that I was going to have my own show someday. And I used to draw my little caricature around campus on the kiosks. And people would say, and the character always had a little word balloon that was saying some nonsense word. Yeah. And people were always saying, why are you doing that? And I would say, it's advertising for the show I'm going to have someday. Which just tell my friends. And my friends used to believe me. They would say, yeah, you're going to have a show someday. I didn't think it was going to be The Tonight Show. I may have overreached. If I have, my apologies.